Look, I opened this jar of rotten baby food, and well, a butterfly came out.
To me, comedy and comedians are supposed to be able to give it to everyone. That is the role they play. So is there a punching up and punching down?
Welcome to Comedians and Elevators podcast. I've got my guest, TL Flint. TL, say hi, introduce yourself, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
What's happening, everybody? TL Flint. I'm an actor from New York City, voice actor as well. Do a little bit of writing on the side.
Awesome, awesome. All right, TL, well, you ready to get started?
Let's do it, man.
Listen, to my regular listeners, I know you don't like when at the beginning of these conversations I ask you to subscribe. None of us like it. I don't like saying it. I don't like it being in here. But it's frustrating. You know what else is frustrating? It's also frustrating when I look in the back end of the YouTube channel and I see that 56% of you that watch frequently haven't yet subscribed. And I know this because I see it in the comments section. You say things like, I didn't know I didn't subscribe. And that's actually what fuels the show. Basically, it's like you're making a donation to the show. So that's why I ask all the time, because it enables us to build and build and build. And we're going for the long term here. Hit the subscribe button and we'll continue to build this show for you. That's my promise. Thank you to all you guys that do subscribe. It means the world to me. All right. So the whole point of the podcast is to compare and contrast the comic versus the comedian. So I define the comic as any person telling funny jokes versus the comedian who's a funny person telling any jokes. So TL, would you agree that you start as a comic and devolve into a comedian?
Uh, I would imagine that you do. I'm not a comedian myself, but I'd imagine that you start out just trying to be funny,
Right.
say as many funny things in a row as possible. At least that's
And it's
how, at
yeah.
least that's
So
how
that's
I
what
would
you would
do it.
do. Have you done stand up at all?
No, I've
Okay.
thought about it a ton, but it's the most frightening prospect aside from live theater, I think there is.
Right. Yeah. Many would argue it's actually more stressful than live theater. Theater mainly because of the fourth wall. Right. So,
Oh, 100%.
right. All right. So you ready for the first question, TL?
Let's do it.
All right. It's about the role of persona in comedy. So how much of the comedian's voice is a character versus the real self?
You know what? As a fan of comedy, I would like to think that it's closer to them being their real selves. Uh, I would like to think that. I know for every comic it's a little bit different, but I would imagine that the best ones to do it, the ones that are most successful, kind of, it's a seamless blend. They shift 90, 10, 10. That shifts
Mhm.
depending on what they're doing on stage. But I would like to think that it's really heavy on actually who they are.
I would agree. So then does authenticity matter or is illusion part of the magic?
A little bit of both. A little bit of both. I think authenticity matters a ton. Uh, I think comedy is just like everything else. If you're being your most authentic selves, you have a more genuine connection with people.
Mhm.
And in an audiences can smell fake a lot, you know? So if
Mhm.
you're being your authentic self, yeah, you're putting a little extra seasoning on things and spicing things up a little bit to enhance what you're already doing. But I think I think authenticity plays a major part. How could it not? You're a comedian, right?
Yeah, I would argue that that's the secret is you know the base is kind of set and then you add the spices on top and that's what changes the character.
That's what I was thinking. I'm glad to know I was on the right track.
But some people would also argue that the character needs to be a different foundation entirely. And so then obviously the spice will actually dilute it because now it's so different from, you know, the origin is so different that you really need to focus it much stronger. And then anything you add on top is actually going to make it worse. So there's different ways of looking at it.
But when you're all right, so when you're building a character, right?
Mhm.
Um, aren't you adding spice to the mix in that creation to begin with? So you kind of don't have to like add on top once you have the thing that you're trying to come across as or be. Do you
So personally, I actually like to create a whole new foundation, a whole new totally different character, basically, and then add the spice on top of that. But that's still not enough. You have to cook it different too.
really?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
you got to have triple convergence because those two things you bounce between the two. It's like uncanny valley. You know, with video games, they're like something's off. You know, they're trying to make it look real, but it's just not. So why try and make it look real? Just go with the style
Okay. So you have to lean all the way into the thing
more
and
than all. Yeah,
and
I would
that
say.
extra
Uh-huh.
that spice on top of what you're doing is the so it's the spice that that character would add to the thing. You're kind of not involved anymore in the process. That
I would.
character is taking over the
Yeah, that's a great way to say it. I would say that. Yeah, exactly. It's the spice that the character add themselves, but the last step is that you, as the individual human, cook the combo in a different way on top of it.
uh,
Now, what that means, that's the hard part. We know what the foundation means, we know what the spice means, but the cook it differently, what does that even mean, right? So that's that can get a little tricky. So, all right, so how about punching up versus punching down? So, where do comics versus comedians subscribe to this? And let me put it in some historical context. Did a jealous medieval prince become the first comedian by killing the court jester?
hmm, that's yes, yes. Uh, I would say yes to that. To that, did he become the first comedian by killing the court? Yes. But is there a such thing as punching up or down in comedy? Like, I've never understood that whole concept because to me, comedy and comedians are supposed to be able to give it to everyone. That is the role they play. So is there a punching up and punching down?
I mean, beauty's in the eye of the beholder, right? So obviously, we didn't think of this until someone started making a thing of it, and then all of a sudden, here we are. It's like, well, was it even worth it in the first place to bring it up? So I would say it's evolutionary. It's just where we're at. You know, we always mull over everything. So let's put it in this context: is criticizing dead people considered punching down?
Uh, oh man, that's it. All right. That's all right. All right. You got me. That's it. That's a good. Um. No, not
All right. Yeah,
that.
you're open. You're free bird here. You're gonna
I'm.
do
I'm.
whatever.
I. I honestly. Like I said, in the context of comedy, I don't believe so. Because uh, a comedian kind of tries to find like there's humor in everything, like
Mhm.
you can find humor in anything that depending on how you frame things. So I think in the context of comedy, It's not. Should you be criticizing dead folks as part of your act or whatever it is you're doing? That I can't say. I'm not an arbiter of that, but I don't believe so. Like I said, I don't. I think everybody is fair game in a comedic context. Like as long as you're not in a comedic context, I think everybody is fair game. Let me just say that.
Okay. So what if at the end, because of the way you structure a joke and they're dead, you're rewriting history?
Again, you're telling a joke. Like
Right.
you're telling a joke. Like an objective person would understand that you are telling a joke. So are you really rewriting history?
So I think you hit the nail on the head right there, an objective person. So I think that's where this whole punching up versus punching down came is not objective. Like this is a totally subjective like
It
perspective, right?
that is true. Every art is subjective. Every art is subjective. Comedy is uh comedy is a little more subjective because everybody has their own different sensitivities to things.
Right.
And but again, I'm of the opinion that uh having sensitivities is one thing, but going to see someone who is making jokes about things is what they do. I think that's kind of I think I think you have to be objective in that instance. Yes, whether you're gonna like it or not is a subjective thing. That's cool. You can like it, not like it. But you kind of have to put your sensitivities to the side a little bit
Hmm.
in a comedy setting because it's comedy. Like like I said, I'm not a comedian, so I can't really like put myself in that space other than as a fan, I believe comedians should be able to say what they say because at the end of the day, the objective is to be funny.
That's right. I want to get a t-shirt, it has a circle with an X through it and it says violence, or words are violence with the big X through it. So it's not, right? Are
I'd like
words
that. That's
violence?
actually a cool t-shirt idea.
Yeah.
That's actually a cool t-shirt idea. Like you can never control the things people are gonna say anyway. You can
Right.
control your reactions to them. Comedy is one of those things where you should expect people to say things that are far off center from the norm, what
Right.
people would say every day. You got to expect that and
That's
appreciate
what
that somebody's willing to take that risk.
That's right. That's right. You got to be careful. That's the only thing, you got to think, hey, they may think words are violence and that it's okay for them to respond in kind. And that's where it gets ridiculous, I think. But hey, so how about the cultural translation of comedy? So how do jokes that work in one country bomb in another?
That's I think it's like some things are like you have to experience them in order to fully understand. Like you can go to a part of the country that doesn't have a subway and do a subway joke, and they're like, "What are you talking about?" The same thing can happen in the United States. Like I think you just have to be. It's a it's a experience, a personal experience kind of thing. If a bunch of people experience something, they know what it is. You can reference that and have those people connect with it because they've experienced it. The interweb is making that a little better as far as shrinking the world, so you can kind of reference things and people might get it because they've seen it somewhere. But
Mhm.
I think experiencing it is where things might fall flat in
Okay.
another country or another locale.
Yeah. Right. So you have that virtual experience. They have a virtual experience. You have the real experience. You're telling the joke based on a real experience, but they haven't had the real experience, only that virtual version. So should we all tell virtual jokes? Is that the solution?
No, no. You have to. The funniest jokes are from things that you've experienced or have touched you personally,
Right.
I think, because it gives you a
So
different perspective.
yeah, I mean that's what I would say. I'm just trying to keep up with the times and see is there a reason to change. So, how does the silence when your joke doesn't land hurt? Physically, emotionally, morally, or spiritually?
Uh, all of them, I'd imagine. all, all of them, I'd imagine. More one than the other, depending on the topic of the joke and how personal it is to you. But I'd imagine that uh, just having a whole room full of people just stare back at you is, you know,
Hmm.
the worst. It gotta be the worst. It gotta be, which is part of why I haven't tried stand-up comedy yet, because I'd imagine that
I
it's
mean, you can exposure therapy is probably the best way to go with that, you know. But I could say it's a complex set of emotions, you know, like gambling is a complex. People love it, they hate it, they're this, that. It's kind of like that, but times 10.
I'd imagine though, when you get a laugh, it's like, you know, the total opposite side of the spectrum from when a joke is just like silence in the room.
That right, but the key here is you have to have your own internal silence to even hear the laugh. You can't have your mind running a million miles a second, even though it is, because you're performing, just so you can hear what's going on. So it can be a tricky wicket. All right,
Hmm.
so how about love and justice? So is the highest function of comedy to expose injustice or to make people feel less alone while living with it?
Uh, I think it's to expose it, like you said. E- Let me not say expose it, but also point it out in a way to people that might not be aware, so it's not such a shock to their belief system or their values, or you do it in a way that uh is funny. People take things better when they can laugh while receiving that information, I think.
Okay. So I'm from my perspective, I don't know how many more injustices people are unaware of that exist in the world, except for one more left. And that's that the government has been lying to us about aliens. So I don't know if people get how pissed people will get about that, but I know half believe that they are, half believe that they're not. But that's an injustice. Would you agree?
About aliens, lying to us about aliens, I think
Yeah.
it is. I think it is. I
Yeah.
I think it is. Only because, well, not only because, but partially because they don't think we're mature enough to handle the actual information.
Hmm.
That part to me seems like an injustice, as
Yeah.
just as much as hiding the fact that ET exists.
Yeah, that's how I see it. So then, when a joke harms someone unintentionally, does love demand accountability or does justice demand defiance?
Oh wow. Um, um, wow. I don't even know how to answer that. I don't
Oh,
even know how to answer that. You said if the joke harms someone unintentionally.
yeah. So that's the tricky part. They didn't do it on purpose. They just didn't know that you're going to get butthurt about it.
Okay, all right. So
So that's the question. Which side do you fall on? Do you fall on what, is it love and what even is love, and then justice, and how do you
how do you get
dispense of
justice for
justice?
someone being unintentionally hurt? Ah,
Yeah.
you know what? I would say love. Because like I said, um, knowing that someone is joking, knowing that, like, from the gate, knowing that being hurt by a joke is, uh, I think that's kind of I think, again, you got to put your sensibilities to the side because you know someone is joking. That's what, that's what you came there for someone to joke and make you laugh. Allowing your, putting that down and being hurt by something that a comedian said, I think that's, unless they're personally attacking you while they were on stage, and even then, I've never seen a comedian like personally attack someone not trying to be funny.
Not trying to be funny, right?
Yeah, like that might actually happen. I don't know. Maybe I'm not in comedy clubs enough to see dudes just get on stage and be like, you, and then just go at that person.
Well, I've definitely seen it when other comedians are in the audience. They're going to go up before or after, and so it's like a fight, verbal fight. Like, I'm ahead of you, so I'm going to put you in this position. So when you get on stage, you're like this, or you were already on, and I'm just going to criticize you to the end. So,
All
all right,
right. So
yeah,
in that instance, are you also doing that to be funny? Like it's not a joke for, like, those aren't the things that you're doing for the crowd. You're doing that for the comedians in the room. Like you're still trying to be funny, right? Or
yeah, absolutely. I mean, with the intent of that engage level of engagement intrigues the audience.
well, yeah, then the other comedian just got a hold that. Like him being offended by it again. 2 cents because he knows you're joking, unless this is a guy he has no clue who you are. Y'all don't know each other. There's no relationship. But if you're going at a comedian like that, I'd imagine that you kind of know him a little bit. You got a
Mm.
little, like, it's more like
At
an
least you've
elbow.
had words.
Yeah, it's an elbow in the ribs kind of thing. So you're not like intentionally trying to bury him, you
Mm.
know? If that's the case, then even still, that could be funny. Like that could
Yeah,
be funny. Maybe not to that one guy,
yeah,
but to everybody, like the other comedians in the room, they're dying. I'd imagine they're dying laughing.
yeah. And the audience too. All right, so very, very important question. Advertising and self-promotion. So who advertises themselves more? The comic, the comedian, or the magician? You know that place where you're not conscious and you're not sleeping either? That's your power bill to the electric company. Right here. I want us to be here with free energy, where the Wardenclyffe Tower meets the Eiffel Tower. But that's not where we are. We are here, where you've got the utility and you've got residential solar. Between these two, we know which one saves you money. This is where we can go in the meantime. But this is where I want us to be now, and this can be done now. So let me deputize you to represent DOSE, Department of Solar Efficiency, and let's get on the podcast and get the message out today. See you soon.
Oh, I'd imagine the magician. I'd
Okay.
imagine the magician. Are there still like I know there's magicians that do kids' birthday parties and stuff, but like comedy club music magicians, I didn't even know
Yeah,
they
they
still.
go. For sure, yeah. There's definitely magicians that do stand up. Like some have, it's both. Like their act is both. So what are they? What are they? A comedian or a magician? They don't even know. So, but I see it all the time
Imagine,
actually.
I'd say magician. I'd say magician.
All right.
I
So
definitely think magician.
all right. So TL, what don't you want me to know about you?
Oh shit. Oh, all right. See, that's a curveball question. I've never
Uh
seen. I watched a bunch of episodes, but I didn't see that in any other episode. Let me
oh,
see.
it's newer. It's newer.
Um, um. Oh man, that. Oh man, what would I, what don't I want you to know? It's the same thing I don't want everybody to know. That I'm sensitive and I'm vulnerable too. You know what I'm saying? Like things get to me. I don't really like people knowing that things get to me.
I mean, saying it is when everyone knows that, and as a human condition, but when you say it, that's when there's a power in that. So yeah, I like it. That's a good. I think you just become more powerful by making that proclamation, right? Maybe.
I guess people say that.
Yeah.
People say that. And you know what? I respect the people. I really do. I respect the people that go about life in that, like, I'm owning all of this. It only
Right.
makes me stronger. I
Yeah.
respect the hell out of that. That's an admirable quality.
So how about censorship and offense? So does a comic avoid offense while a comedian courts it to prove a point, like a magician?
Uh, I do think I do think comedian. I don't know if they I would say they courted. I don't know if I would say they courted. I just would say that they're not afraid of it. Like, certain people do look for that thing and they'll lean into it.
All
And I
right.
think it takes going by how you define it, a comic and a comedian. I think a comedian he would lean into that. He's unafraid of it
All right.
because
So, uh-huh.
he has the ability and the talent and the skill to be able to put an sometime maybe offensive, awkward, whatever point of view, he's able to articulate it eloquently so people understand.
All right. So then who survives better in the cancel culture environment? The comic, the comedian, the magician, or the mudslinger?
Uh, I think a comedian. I think a comedian survives it. I think a comedian survives it. A mudslinger might profit from it a little bit in the interim,
Mhm.
but then they have to change course, so it's not really genuine. Uh, a comedian definitely survives. Uh, they definitely do because their authenticity with everything else, even if people don't like this one thing, their authenticity with everything else and the way they apply their craft, I think allows them to step over certain things or through certain things that might sink a comic who I think would not touch certain things because they're they're worried about being funny and offending people and not getting that laugh. Whereas a comedian knows, like, I'm not gonna get a laugh with everything. Everything doesn't necessarily get a laugh. A comedian is trying to put uh, a certain a unique spin on a subject or a perspective. Their uniqueness is what's going to carry them through, I think.
Yeah. Speaking of carrying through, TL, are you ready to enter the multiverse?
Let's do it.
All right. Board game Zoomcast, play versus performance. So you have to choose an avatar. So if comedy were a board game Zoomcast, are you competing as the colorist avatar, adding tone, mood, and shading, or the Foley artist avatar, building punchlines with soundscapes and timing?
Hmm. The second one.
Okay, Foley artist. That sounds
Yeah.
good. So then, does comedy work better when it's painted vividly or when it's orchestrated sonically?
Uh, I would say vividly. Like, if you can bring people into, if you can make them see what you're seeing with your words, I think what you're trying to do goes over better. Like, if
All
you can
right.
put them in place or a circumstance I think you're onto something.
All right. All right. So, TL, here on the Comedians and Elevators podcast, we have a tradition where the previous guest asks a question for the next guest.
Oh,
And the previous guest was Richie Tavaki. And his question for you, TL, is how does one draw authenticity from their own experience?
by owning it. You have to own it. Like if you fully though, like you have to own it fully. Every part of it. Whether it's embarrassing, you have to own it. And authenticity will come just from that.
All right. All right. So, last question legacy. Who gets remembered? So, will the comics Tight Five survive time, or will the comedian's cultural point of view be more timeless?
I think the comedian's cultural point of view. Like there will be people that remember that Type Five, but I
Mm-hmm.
think more people will remember someone who said something about something
Mm-hmm.
that touched them.
All right. Like the world, right? Awesome. So, TL, where can everybody find you online?
I'm on Instagram at TL Flint X. I'm not usually on it, but that's the handle. And that's the handle everywhere, actually.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Well, TL, thank you so much for being my guest. And for everyone, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.
My man.
If you're interested in too much information like in the network state or Mantipus the chicken shit, check out this video. Or is it this one right here? Well, either way. Lizard